spirituality is one of the 7 aspects of the wheel of life. And I'm not going to say we're perfect at it, but it's something we've been working on and evolving. And to have the most well-rounded life, you need to hit all 7 aspects. And spirituality is usually the hardest, and we're going to teach you some tips and tricks to make it one of the easiest.
So with spirituality, like that's so personal to so many people, and they're like, I don't believe in whatever. What is spirituality? What does that mean?
We overcomplicate it so often. And spirituality, like the wheel of life and spirituality, is something I teach in a work setting where you try to keep things pretty neutral. It could be meditation. It could be going to church. It could be reading, right? Like there's so much. It could be one with nature. And I think we need to take out any preconceived notions. And first, it's like whatever you believe and whatever fills your heart, your head, your body with happiness around spirituality. We start with that. I mean, for you, what would you say is spirituality?
Yeah.
Is it different than that?
No, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of times it's associated with religion or something along those lines, which maybe for you it is, which is fine. And you might find that I need to go to church at a particular, religion, and like that's what fills me up. Like that's great. You might not believe in God, and you might think that, hey, I want to just meditate like that. That's what it is for me. So I think it's super personal. But I think it's regardless of what your spirituality is, it's equally as important as everything else.
Absolutely. So it's when I talk about spirituality and you're looking at it, you ask yourself inward, where do I rank on a scale of 1 to 10 where I've mastered spirituality? I practice this daily. Down to 1 is it's not even on my radar, right? And what do you need to do? I have a friend that I work with, and for him, it really is one with nature, right? Him being out in the woods is what brings him peace. For me, going to church, right? Like that brings me peace. And so everyone is so different, but I encourage you to find whatever there is that brings you peace is what you need to be focused on.
Right.
You had said something about a coach in life kind of taught you like your why, your purpose, all around this concept.
Yeah, because it ties in so much to self, I feel like. And it was similar. It was, what is your why? And I was, and this was a business coach. And so I was like, well, that's easy, I'm thinking this in my head, like I know exactly what it is. And so she says, well, what is your why? And it can't be your wife and kids. And I was like, well, what do you like? No, that's my why. But she's like, your wife, your kids, especially your kids, they don't care how much money you make, right? They like you're doing this for something. Like, why are you doing it? Because they really don't care. And I was like, they don't care. That's not what's important to them. So I had to totally rethink that and go, well, what is my why? And is it's not to make a lot of money so I can give my, wife and kids a better life, like that. It wasn't an option for me. So I had to really dig deep and go, what is my why? And that tied back into spirituality. So that's how I had to come up with it.
That's a good one. Because we always will say it's our significant other, kids, your family.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's really good.
It makes it tough for a lot of people because then they have to really dial down because it's really more about yourself. And, what do you like? What is your why? And a lot of people have, they don't have a true purpose. Or, you have, in the mission statement, the purpose, what is your why? They're all kind of one and the same. And you have like the best story for how you came up with essentially what was it, a mission statement? Is that what it was? So tell us about that.
It was interesting because I was on this journey of VPM, which is your vision, purpose, mission. And I went to a retreat, and many that know me know I like sleeping indoors. I like having a bed that's there. I like being warm, and I was on a work trip. And so it was new to my role. We were in Arizona, so I have somewhat business attire. And I was going directly from that trip to, it was a summit in a sense. And so all I had was a packing list, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And this is where my whole vision, purpose, mission all came together. And I remember taking the red eye from Arizona to Georgia. And I take about a 2-hour bus ride to this home, private residence. And I get to the bottom of a hill, and it is a rocky, probably 2-mile, 1.5-mile hike up. And I have a rolling suitcase. And they said, how did you think you're going to get it to the top? I said, I don't know. And so they helped me get my suitcase up to the top, where I was greeted by tents and cabin mates, tent mates that I didn't know. I didn't know anyone, and was also given a bow and arrow. And I realized I was going to be participating in a 48-hour journey of something I've never experienced before. So we do a archery competition. I lose. Have to do like 100 burpees for the loser. We do a lot of sauning, cold plunging. We're doing all these things. We're doing these meditated walks out in the wilderness, silent walks. And we go to bed the next day. We wake up, and it's dreary. It's like misting a little bit. They give us a poncho. They take all technology from us. And they say, we're going to work on our mission statement. And we do a little exercise, and they ask some questions. And it's something I'm willing to share with anyone. If anyone has questions, I'll be happy to share these questions with them. But you go through a couple of questions, and they lead us out into the woods. And it's like a 200-acre property, probably more than that. And you can't see anyone. You're by yourself. So I have a yoga mat, a poncho, pen and paper. And they said, we'll come back and get you in a few hours. And I sat there, and I'm supposed to write my mission, like my life mission, my why, my purpose. And I was stalled for a while. And I started going through the questions, and it all started unraveling. And I'm going to tell you the reason why is I was sitting outside, right? You're one with nature. You're not like, you don't have a roof over your head. You're not sitting in a comfy chair. I'm sitting on the dirt, right? And I was able to write what I think is the most beautiful why statement, because it was me, right? And it had to do with what filled my soul.
Yeah.
And wrote the whole thing out. And after, it was probably 2 hours, I finished. And I'm sitting there, and I can hear deer were jumping actually behind me. And I look straight ahead, and I could hear rustling. And probably almost from me to you was 4 baby foxes. They were like this big. And they were wrestling, and the mom was trying to get them back in their den, right? And the mom sees me, and the foxes keep playing. They don't care that I'm there. And we were out there probably about 3.5 to 4 hours. So probably about an hour solid, I watched these 4 foxes. And what was so magical about that, I have 4 kids. We have 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching 4 baby foxes in front of me frolic and play as I'm writing this mission, life purpose statement. And I realized, like, the life I've always dreamed of, like, I'm living right now. And we make it so big, right? Houses and cars and status. It's not what it's about, right?
Yeah.
It's about magical moments like that. And we have them so often, and we forget to stop and take them all in. And so that taught me so much right then. And then it was part of the nature piece. So for me, when I'm working on spirituality, there's so many aspects of it, from, yes, going to church, reading a Bible, journaling, writing, being a good human,
Yeah, right.
Nature, right? That all goes into it. So I think we overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
It's something that's simple and something that we should practice regularly. And you and I will say it's something that we work on.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah,
Always.
it's absolutely. Ideally, what do you think spirituality, like, how often should it be practiced? And if you're not doing it, like, what do you think someone should do to find their spirituality?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it can start with, like I said, it's so personal, but I mean, gratitude is huge. Just to start, you know, it might be doing the gratitude journal which I've
Mhm.
handed out because
Yeah.
I feel like it has made such a huge difference to me.
Absolutely.
And that is just, it's totally agnostic. Anybody can do it. It's
Mhm.
just like, hey, what is good? And
Mhm.
write it down. That's one
Yeah.
place to start.
It's a great place to start. We one time went on a church mission. Do you remember? Not like a mission to find a church. And
Oh,
I think we
yes.
went to like 3 services in one day at 3 different places. Like we
Yeah.
just kept trying to do it.
Yeah.
So if yours ties into that,
Yeah.
it's okay to interview and find and
Right.
seek out whatever it is it might be.
Yeah.
And I think people are afraid
Yeah.
of it. And like we give you permission, right? To
Yeah.
go and do this. And then practicing it. Is this like a daily practice, you think, for spirituality? Do you think it's weekly, monthly?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's personal, and I think it's like, where do you rank?
Mhm.
Like it might be if it's nature, and it might be going outside and feeling the sun, like
Yeah.
making sure. It could be getting away, schedule it if you
Yeah.
need to, right? I mean, just like everything else with the calendar, if your spirituality, it's like, okay, on Sunday or Saturday, I'm going to church, whenever it is,
Mhm.
or I'm doing a hike,
Mhm.
so I think it's personal. I think that, yeah, you need to figure it out. I mean, for me, it is the gratitude. So for me, it's daily,
Mhm.
something, that I need to do. Not that I do it daily, but when I'm following my owner's manual and I'm operating at my highest self, I'm doing it daily.
Yeah. I'll go back to if you're ranking yourself on a wheel of life, and spirituality is one of your lower ones. And if I look at hundreds of wheels of life of people,
Yeah.
and I see they rank themselves self and spirituality, those are their lowest rankings most often.
Yep.
So if I were to go into whatever your lowest ranking is, if it's spirituality, it's usually the least thing you want to work on.
Right. Yep.
Because it's a lot more fun to work on something you're naturally good at or
Sure.
gifted at or a higher score at.
Yeah.
And so going through with spirituality, I think if that's your lowest ranking, you have to invest.
Sure.
So if you were to take a wheel, right, and you have this wheel and you're a 1, but you're a 10, your wheel's really unbalanced. It's almost like having a nail in a tire.
Right.
And you can't roll through your wheel of life if it's getting clogged in that area.
Yeah.
So it's really important to take that spirituality aspect and work on it, and start with monthly, then go to weekly, then go to daily to really grow. And looking at spirituality and trying to make that score higher on a wheel of life, many will ask, like, how do I start? And it's diving inward. And for me, it's getting paper and a pen and just writing out, what does spirituality mean to you? And be open with it.
Yeah.
And if you write out what it means to you, now look at true like daily activities that you could do. If it is journaling, if it's prayer, if it's a walk in nature, if it's meditation, if it's yoga, if it's breath work, whatever that is that brings you closer to what you need to make it so it's granular, something that you can truly grasp onto, and a task that you can do, and then assign yourself to do it daily, weekly, monthly. That's what I think is probably the easiest way to get started
Right.
with spirituality. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like you said, it's easy to overcomplicate. Like, just go to church.
Mhm.
And it's like, if you don't like the church that you went to, then go to a different one,
Mhm.
or it might, maybe you don't want to go to church. Fine. But it's just doing it,
Yeah.
taking and going, hey, I'm going to pause, and, maybe it's like, I'm going to say a prayer, or I'm
Mhm.
going to just meditate, whatever it might be. Just start, like, do it.
Yeah.
And I know for us, it was, and I'm super guilty. And it was like, I had this preconceived notion, when we first started going to church, and I was just looking for a reason to.
You said they have holy jeans on and a backwards hat.
Yeah.
And
like,
you don't wear that to church. You said that.
Yeah.
I remember.
I did say that. And then it was like, but we kept going, and
Yep.
then I couldn't find anything that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it and I go, what negative am I getting out of this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
what is the give and take here?
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, this is good.
You
Like,
feel good.
Yeah, you feel great, and you're getting all of this advice, whether it's religious or not. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that you can live by, right?
Yep.
And so, that's to me, it's just like, you got to be open-minded.
You do. Absolutely. And I will say technology has made it really easy for us. You can listen to a podcast.
Totally.
You can listen to a
100%.
book. You can do meditation or breath work through an app on your phone. Like there's so much that we can do, but we have to be open-minded.
Yep.
And you have to just start.
Yep.
So it's writing it out. It's identifying what is it to you, because it's different for everyone.
Yep.
Making a list of like true tasks you can do, and then just getting it done.